Good evening, listeners. Today I'm talking about your internal critic or the internal dialogue that you have with yourself. A lot of individuals don't actually realize that they have an internal voice, an internal thinking process. Some people have no idea that this thinking process is happening. Some people are very in tune with this thinking voice that's happening and can subtly detect the voices that they're hearing or the thoughts that they're having, while others have very predominant and very intrusive voices. Now, it's important to understand what type of voice you have. Is it a loud, dominating voice that controls all your actions, or is it a voice that you're not even aware of exists? And that comes from starting to take notice of what is driving your thinking and what is driving your behavior, because that will be your internal dialogue, your internal critic. And that could actually be a very encouraging voice, or it could be a very discouraging voice, an intrusive voice. And for a lot of people that struggle with OCD, that is the intrusive thoughts or the highly critical voice. But for people that don't generally struggle with anxiety or OCD, they usually are very encouraging voices. Now, the thing is, where does this thought or this voice come from? It can usually come from a number of factors. Usually first, genetically, it comes from conditioning behavior from your upbringing. So in other words, when you wanted to try something new, how did your parents usually respond to it? Or how did your grandparents or whoever were your caregivers or your surrounding family, did they encourage you with new pursuits? Or did they discourage you and tell you everything that would go wrong? You would have processed that information and stored it and told yourself certain things. If they encouraged you, then your dialogue would usually be an encouraging internal voice. If they discouraged you and justified for you why you shouldn't try anything, then you're probably more inclined to have a critical internal voice. So your environment and your genetics play a big role in that. Also, if you come from a family that genetically has a lot of anxiety and depression in the background, you might find that this voice always justifies for you why you shouldn't try anything different. And that's why you might struggle to actually attempt new things. And you might find that you're somebody that tends to self-sabotage a lot of your ideas because you're constantly justifying why you shouldn't try something else. Another factor that might affect this voice is life experience. What has happened when you've tried new things? Have you generally found it's been a positive experience? Has the environment catered to that experience and opened doorways? Or have you found that doorways have really shut in a really bad way with new experiences? Because that life experience would also determine whether your voice remains encouraging or whether your voice remains discouraging. Another big factor with that is what is your current level of self-care? So that equates to your current mental health. Are you sleeping enough? Are you exercising enough? Are you getting enough rest? Are you getting enough of your tank filled with the things that fill you up despite the demands and the stresses of everyday life? Because if you are burnt out and exhausted from that sphere, your internal voice is going to be massively critical to a point where it might make you feel like a bit of a child in a way, that you're not feeling like you're functioning like a complete adult. So I'm going to encourage you to actually start thinking a little bit about this. What are the voices or what are the thoughts driving my behaviors and driving my thinking? Where is it all coming from? If I want to do a certain thing, where is this thought coming from? Where is this desire coming from to do this? It may be hugely insightful, because if it is a critical voice, you need to become that encouraging voice. You need to challenge that critical voice. And there's a big danger if you don't start challenging that voice, because it will drive further depression and anxiety. And if your voice is encouraging, that's reassuring for yourself to keep encouraging yourself and to keep encouraging yourself and being graceful with yourself when attempts to try something different didn't go according to plan, and just take the wins that you did have and be grateful for the things that remain. So I encourage you, spend some time to think about where is the voice coming from, and what is driving this voice or these thoughts that are coming. Is it an encouraging thought process, or is it a discouraging thought process? Because self-love comes from encouragement and grace. Okay.